Call this meeting to order and a roll call, please, Tammy.
William C.
Here.
Catherine.
Not working.
Jim Brown.
Here.
Thomas. Conroy.
Here.
Paula.
Here.
John. Hitzel.
Here.
Julie Mathis.
Here.
Donald McCormick.
Here.
Jerry. Thomas Rice.
Here.
Kevin Russell. P.J. Thornberry.
Here.
Stephen.
Here.
Raymond Corcoran. And Frank and John have been asked to be excused today.
All right, thank you very much. I've been asked if we could suspend the agenda at this point, and we've asked Lucienne Pears to be with us today to give us a little talk about economic development, and she is here, but she has to be in Fort Myers a little bit later on today, so it's all right with everybody, and I see everybody nodding their heads. Lucienne, come on up here and grab the hot seat.
Thank you. We could have done this by Skype, but I think this is much better. Thank you very much for adjusting the agenda for me. I appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Lucienne Pears. I'm the new director of the Charlotte County Economic Development Office. I've been with the Economic Development Office for 6 years now, starting as a business development specialist, moving up to business recruitment supervisor. One of the reasons for that change was that economic development is a relationship business, and to make those relationships, you have to get out there and you have to meet the people that are making the decisions for company relocations and expansions. So I knew that I was going to be with the office for a while. I made a proposal to the then director and said, hey, why don't I get started on this relationship business? And he agreed, so I did that for a few years, and now I'm at the director. Before that, I was in land development, worked with Roberts and type folks for quite a number of years, mostly in Manatee and Sarasota counties. I'm a planner by trade. I have a lot of use in land planning and design and entitlement work of residential mixed-use type developments, though that skill set was really quite applicable to economic development, especially in Charlotte County, since with a low inventory of available space, most of the projects that we're talking about are coming out of the ground. So it's been a great fit. I went to Salisbury University of Maryland, grew up in upstate New York, so I think I have traveled the majority of the eastern seaboard now to get to Charlotte County.
Let's see, in our last charter review, 6 years ago, it was recommended at that time and passed by the citizens that you report to the county commission. Is that a good fit?
Well, I think it's been 6 years, and really, there's been one full-time director and one basic commission that's reported to at this point in time. I think under those circumstances, it's worked very well. It's hard to say if long-term that is the best fit. I think it works very well. I've enjoyed the relationship and the direct access to the Board of County Commissioners. And equally, I have a fantastic relationship with the county administrator and the county attorney. So I think it's appropriate, but to say whether one is better than the other, I think it's really just too soon to tell because we haven't had enough time to see it operate in different assemblages of folks in those positions.
Paula?
Do you think there's more potential for leakage with the more people that you have to report to?
I think the opportunities are everywhere. I deal a lot with the business community, other partner agencies, the airport authority, the school board, and all of whom have been fantastic to work with. I don't think that the commissioners, as opposed to any other single group or partner that I deal with, presents that opportunity. They do understand confidentiality, and this commission specifically is very good about saying, I recognize that there's probably a line of information that we shouldn't cross because of confidentiality, and they're very respectful of that.
How highly do the business people that you work with esteem confidentiality?
I think everybody understands that, especially the business community, who all have their own financial plans, business plans, and models, and certainly wouldn't want all of that information shared all over the place, so they more so understand the sensitivity of some of the information that we have. You know, I can relate to you an example with the Hertz project. Before they had announced to their headquarters facility in New Jersey, not to be named entity sent a big floral display to the president at his office in New Jersey saying, "Welcome to Lee County." That was almost a deal breaker for obvious reasons, because they had staff there that didn't know if they were moving, that they were moving, how that was going to affect their lives. And that could have been a huge impact to Hertz and loss of productivity. And I think that our business community really gets those sorts of nuances of confidentiality.
I mean, the business people that are thinking of coming here, like Hess, for instance, they esteem it very highly, don't they, confidentiality?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you cautious in how much you tell whom?
With relationship to the companies or with the commissioners?
With the commissioners.
I share information equally with commissioners, so I establish the level of detail that I'm going to provide and then share that level equally across the board.
Thank you.
Lucienne, I'm sorry, Bill.
Please go. Good.
When our subcommittee interviewed your predecessor, one of his concerns about the direct report is the time involved. And can you tell us a little bit about your feelings on that?
Well, it could be quantified as 20% of your time. Every Monday I meet with each one of the commissioners. It doesn't take up the entire day, but certainly a good bit of the day is blocked out for that. One of the differences between Mr. Patton and myself is that I travel a significant amount of the time. So just by default, it ends up being almost every other Monday. So it's less of a burden on my time than it was, and each of the commissioners have been very available by telephone or through other arrangements. So for the last 3.5 months, it really hasn't become an issue.
Lucienne, 6 years into this, you've seen it. Would you recommend to us that it be changed now?
I think it would be premature to make a change at this point in time.
You have to understand, if it doesn't change now, 6 years for a week. See?
So hopefully I'll be having this very same conversation 6 years from now. And my hope is that I'll be saying that things have been really running quite smoothly, and that's what I anticipate.
Bill?
The reporting function is a critical part of the management process. You meet with each commissioner separately, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I know there's that balance between reporting to your boss once a week, even though maybe you're not doing it now because of certain logistics, or not reporting enough. I can't see how, just my opinion, reporting to 5 people is more efficient than reporting to 1.
Well,
I'm being honest, from a taxpayer's point of view, 20% of your time reporting, that's unheard of in management.
Well, I think that was more so with Tom Patton than it has been with myself. You know, a lot of what we do in economic development is policy decisions. So I need to gauge the comfort level of the companies. And keep in mind that not everything that I do is directly company related. It's positioning, it's strategy, it's marketing, it's working through developing the resources that we have in Charlotte County. So for example, you take into account the spec building program that we developed. Without being able to communicate directly with the commissioners about whether or not they supported the expenditure of funds down the road of putting together and pre-permitting building plans, it would have been hard to know if they supported that, and then until we got to the end of the process, which in my mind, all the money's been spent, so that's really too late. I can understand your concern. Again, it hasn't been cumbersome to this point. And each of the commissioners, I have a relationship with the current commission that if I don't have anything to talk to them about for half an hour on a Monday morning, I just let them know that we'll go ahead and save the time that day.
Oh. Todd?
Lucienne, do you have the same sort of once-a-week meeting with Ray Sandrock to keep him up at the same level as you do the commissioners?
I interact with Ray on a number of occasions. There's a director's meeting every week, which I attend. I'm not obligated to because I'm not a direct report to Ray, but I do attend to stay in touch with the rest of what's going on and my peers. I have a monthly meeting with Jeanette and Ray and myself, standing meeting with them. And then I've got Ray's cell phone, and I talk to him generally several times a week just on things that are happening and problem solving, brainstorming, things like that.
Don McCormick?
Lucienne, I'm Don McCormick. We hadn't had the pleasure of meeting before. One of my concerns is the appearance of a political aspect. I thought in the recent transition that there was an appearance of politics that would not have been apparent if you had been a direct report to Ray Sandrock. I don't think your relationship was directly with the county administrator would have taken a political dimension. I don't know how to put you in position to answer that question without creating trouble for you, but do you have a thought that if you had a direct report to the county administrator, it might reduce the political aspect of things?
I think economic development by its very nature is a political animal because ultimately the decisions that we make on companies, policies, initiatives, ordinances, programs are all subject to approval by the Board of County Commissioners, so it's somewhat unavoidable.
Anyone else? Anything else you want to say, Lucienne?
I just want to say thank you all very much for accommodating me in this process as a whole, and then further accommodating me by taking me up front in your agenda. So,
yeah, one thing on security. In your prior encounters with government and with businesses, have you had any problem in development trying to get the local press or somebody that's interested in just blowing out a story? Do they pressure you at all, or do you have to interface with them?
the media has been very good about contacting me or my office prior to me taking this position to get comment on stories and things like that. By no means do they run their schedule of stories or reporting by me. And I have a policy of always responding and only with the information that I'm able to share.
Okay. Because they sometimes will say, this is between you and I, and then the next thing you know, they've got a byline out. And that's not good.
Well, when I talked about, I establish a level of detail at which point I can share with any commissioner on any project because of confidentiality. That applies across the board to all parties, commissioners, media, Ray, across the board.
Well, thank you very much, Lucienne. It's a safe trip down to Fort Myers.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time.
Bring back a good deal.
Yeah, bring back.